Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I went on Facebook Marketplace, and as the title of the video says, I found my first real Volkswagen, the first car I ever modified, the car that got me into the VW scene, and the car that made me a bunch of friends that I still have today, my 2008 Volkswagen GTI. It's in rough shape. It's honestly really bad. If you don't know, my Volkswagen GTI was the car that really started my journey into working on my own car, modifying my own car, meeting people, going to car shows, creating car meets, hosting Volksbahn, all this fun stuff. YouTube even stemmed from this 2008 Volkswagen GTI. And while I had made videos before I bought the car is what got me into vlogging. Today, we are going to talk about, for my first vlog, big deal, we're going to talk about the GTI and why I bought it. And obviously this was like 2014, 2015 when vlogging was at its absolute peak. A lot of what I do on YouTube, a lot of what I'm currently doing on YouTube is thanks to this car. I sold the car in 2017. I actually traded it in. I got $2,900 for it. They originally offered me $1,900 on trade. I said no, I'd go sell it, so they offered me $2,900. I took everything off of it, traded it in with the EPC light on and the an airbag light and the air conditioning not working because when we undid the intercooler, we didn't really know what we were doing, and we unplugged the airbag sensor with the battery in and pinched the AC line and did all that fun stuff. Anyway, moral of the story, I traded the car in for $2,900 for my 2013 Audi S4. Now the car has lived its life in New England pretty much since new. It was originally a Rhode Island car. I brought it up here to Massachusetts, and then it was in another part of Massachusetts for a little bit, and then ended up in New Hampshire for a little bit. It's kind of all over the place. But, moral of the story, I've been tracking the car and the service history. It's been serviced at Kelly Volkswagen a bunch of times, which is a local dealership in the Boston area, and I knew that it was around here. Actually, at one point, I found who I'm pretty sure was the owner at the time on Facebook and Instagram. I messaged him in both places. He never responded to me, which was kind of sad. But I told him that it was my old car and I wanted to buy it back. And ultimately, he ended up sending it to Copart auction, where the gentleman who is selling it now bought it from. So I messaged this guy. I said, hey, I think you have my old car. He said, how do you know it's your old car? I said, I did all this stuff too. He goes, well, you left me with a lot of problems. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's been 6 years since I sold the car. Actually, yeah, I sold the car in June of 2017, maybe July of 2017. So it's literally been 6 years since I sold the car. I said, whatever problems I sold it with are not the problems that you're currently dealing with. And he said, okay, he got it from Copart. Let me talk you through the car and the condition of the car, and then we'll talk about what the next steps here are. This is the ad that I found. Here's the car. And you're wondering, how do you know it's yours, Eli? Well, let me tell you. First of all, I went to this picture right here, and you can see these guys right in here. Those are Jetta grills. I installed Jetta grills on my car because I wanted to be different, and if you'll notice, the finish on the Jetta grill is chipping. That's because it's Plastidip. That was me Plastidipping. That was a big Plastidip phase. These covers right here are also chrome. Those are Plastidipped. You can see it's missing a fog light grill. We'll get into that in a second. But if you go to the next picture, you can see right here, this side marker is gray. And this is actually leftover anthracite gray Plastidip that Pound and I had laying around. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm sick of these orange side markers. I was editing them out in Photoshop. And so I said, yeah, we're gonna Plastidip them gray. And amazingly, it has still not been unplastidipped. So the final thing here is if we go to, I believe, this picture, you can see that the mirror covers are black. Again, I Plastidipped this whole car, including the roof. The roof used to be black. I don't remember if I traded it in with a black roof or not, but these mirror covers are still Plastidip black, and you can see on this side that the Plastidip really has not fared super well. It's also been 8 years since I Plastidipped it. That's how I knew the car was mine. I messaged the seller. I verified the VIN. This is actually my old Volkswagen GTI, which is really unbelievable. Let's talk about what's wrong with it. So Volkswagen GTI. Car runs but needs an alternator. Also, it needs power steering control module for mostly electronics like blinkers, wipers, etc. 2800, no low balls. I do have the title. Do not say if the item is still available. If you're one of those people that clicks, is this still available? Do not watch the rest of this video. I don't want anything to do with you. But if you look up this power steering control module, that control model on fcpro.com is $532. And then he also says needs an alternator, a brand new alternator, although you could get it rebuilt. An alternator is another $300. So right off the bat, the car needs $800 in parts just to get it drivable. It's not going to pass inspection without blinkers and wipers, and obviously you can't drive a car without an alternator. But it gets worse. If you look at this car, it's actually not that bad from the rear. You can see the rear bumper tow hook cover is missing. I actually had a bunch of rust underneath the emblem. I don't know if that was fixed at some point. That paint looks like it matches for the most part, so no complaints there. But if you come around front, this is where it starts to get ugly. First thing I noticed was over here. The bumper does not line up on this side anymore. It looks like the car was hit at some point or something happened where something in here is not great. But then it gets worse, because if you look on the hood, there's a big old dent right in the middle. And then if you look even further, on either end, the hood is flared up. You can see that better in this picture right there. I asked him what happened. He said that the previous owner didn't latch the hood and the hood flipped backwards onto the windshield. His upside of that was that it has a new windshield. The headlights are super faded. I don't think I even polished those during my ownership, so I don't know how that happened. The headlights were pretty immaculate when I had them. And the car is just in rough condition. He doesn't include any interior pictures. Anyway, I started talking with them. I'm firm on the price. Does not pay for the new set of tires with new intake manifold, coils, spark plugs, brakes, power steering rack. It sounds like this poor car, whoever owned it before this guy when he bought it from auction, put it through the ringer. And if you can't tell by the wheels that are on the car, yeah, those are... This car was sent to auction to be parted out and die, and this guy saved her. Said the offer price is $2,800. I won't go below $2,500. I offered him below $2,500, and he said, I'll just keep the car until the engine blows. That's my offer. I won't go any lower. So that is where we are at with my Mark V GTI. She's somewhere relatively local, living a very hard life. And, oh yeah, and it's still got a little bit of bacon fender up here. I wonder if it's still on. It's got to still be on the coilovers, right? If it's riding that low. I'm also curious if it still has the downpipe. It definitely still has the resonator delete. No questions asked in the catback. I'm curious if it still has the downpipe. Man, I should go see this thing. Honestly, it's not looking too great for the GTI. The guy is pretty firm at the $2,800 price. I don't think the car is worth nearly that, even though it's my first car. I think it would be some fun content to make, but I already have the SQ5 and the B5. I don't necessarily have a spot to park it, and so I'm really not sure if it's a great idea to bring this car back. I think that this car, it's done its thing, it's had its time, and so I'm on the fence. It would be really nice to get the car back and bring it back to the condition that it was in its prime. It would take a lot of money though, and I don't know if that money is a great investment. I definitely would not see a return on it. On the flip side, there's the emotional side of things where I'm like, that's my baby. That was my baby for 4 years, and I don't want to see her treated like that. I really don't necessarily know what to do. On the side, I've been saving up my funds to single turbo the B5. That is a pretty solid financial investment. And buying the GTI would definitely put a hold on that. I had a lot of great memories with the car. Ultimately, I'm chasing a feeling of, the car scene in 2014, 2015, 2016 that will never get back today. And so I don't want to be disappointed by buying this car expecting something and then having it not be it. At the same time, man, it hurts to see that car in that condition and know that I did not leave it in that condition. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but this was an interesting one. It was a good surprise, and it wasn't a good surprise because of the condition of the car, but it was a fun find on Facebook. I yelled out loud a little bit, and then I texted some homies in all caps. I was stoked on it, so let me know what you guys would do. Thank you so much for watching. Go out there and spread some positivity, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Maybe with a Mark V. I don't know.